Hey, good morning, Tom Ferry. Happy December. It's an interesting time of the year. I was out over the weekend doing a little holiday shopping, and when you do that, you get a feel for how people's emotions are, how their mindset is, how they're viewing the world, how their attitude is. From the salespeople I would deal with to the people behind the counters buying stuff and interacting with salespeople to make their purchases. Here's what I saw. It was kind of 50-50. Half the people out there seemed pretty positive, pretty optimistic, and half the people out there, I don't want to say they seemed depressed, but they were definitely, maybe energy-sucking vampire would be the appropriate phrase. But all this brings me back to kind of a lifelong study of mine, and that is, I remember listening to Zig Ziglar speak in like 1988, and Zig said, you got to have a good attitude, right? Have you ever seen Zig speak before? You know that phrase. And I remember listening to him thinking to myself, what is a good attitude? What does that really mean? I mean, how many books have been written on, you got to have a positive attitude, you got to be optimistic, and blah, blah, blah. The challenge is, being a little analytical, I always struggled with, could you help me define what is a good attitude? I get it's how you view the world, but how do you do that? And you know what? I discovered it a long time ago, and I want to share it with you right now. If you look at attitude is controlled by your physiology, the way you move your body. You don't see many depressed people walking going, oh my goodness, I'm totally depressed. No, that would be the wrong physical state for depression. So first is your physiology. Second is your focus. That's the questions you ask yourself most often. Do you ask yourself questions like, what do I love about my life? And what am I committed to right now? And who do I need to be? Or are you asking questions like, why does this always happen to me? You can see how either one of those questions will determine your focus, which will ultimately determine your attitude. The last one is your self-talk. The 40 to 60,000 thoughts you have every single day, the things you say to yourself, about yourself, and other people. If you've worked with me at a seminar before, oftentimes I'll have you turn to your neighbor, look your buddy right in the eye and say, your head is a scary place to be. Well, I'm referring to your self-talk. How we talk ourselves out of success. We talk ourselves out of making the phone call. We talk ourselves out of doing the things that ultimately give us the power. So those three things, physiology, focus, and self-talk, that to me determines your attitude, how you view the world. Body slumped over, looking a little more depressed. Focus, what's wrong? Why does this keep happening to me? And your self-talk, you're saying those things. All that's going to determine a certain attitude. Well, guess what? This is why it's so important. Your attitude will then determine the actions that you take. So if all of this is in a downward spiral, this is in a downward spiral, what kind of action do you think you're going to take on a Monday morning with nothing but possibility in front of you? Well, guess what? Those actions will then produce a result, in this case not very positive, and then guess what happens? Those results reinforce your physiology, your focus, and your self-talk. Wow. Look at it on the flip side. All this is working, this is working, this is working, this is working, and it's reinforced. So it goes positive or negative, and the deal is you decide every day how it's going to be by the way you move your body, yes, by your focus, the questions you're asking yourself, what do I love about this? I love December, let's go, and all that determines your self-talk. Now, ultimately, why is all of this important? Okay, I'm running this morning, and I'm on the treadmill, and I'm thinking about everything that's available to you in 2010, everything that's available to all the people that I work with in 2010. And you know what? There's people out there right now that just don't believe. And I always remind myself, we put a man on the moon. We put a man on the moon. I think you could increase your production in a funky economy. I know it. If we could put a man on the moon, your business can improve no matter the circumstances of your environment. If we can do that, I think you could sell a few more homes in 2010. I think you do a few more loans, you can have a few more clients, you can move the needle, you can grow your business, but it's all going to come down to how you view the world. What I want you to be clear on is, this is the real stuff you need to be focusing on every single day. So the question is, what's going to be your pattern to move your body, right? So you feel good. Remember, you feel good, you perform good. What questions are you going to begin to ask yourself every day? And then lastly, are you going to do things like affirmations? Affirmations, Stuart Smiley on Saturday Night Live. I'm not into that stuff. That's an affirmation, by the way. We're always affirming the positive, the neutral, the negative every single day. So start being more intentional about it. So my message to you on this Monday morning is simple. We know this determines this, and it reinforces that. This is where the control is. Get control of those three, and anything is possible in 2010. Have a great Monday, and remember always, your strategy matters and your passion rules.